3, 2.
Welcome back to Hold My Merlot. It's me, Fran.
And Martin.
And of course, my pets are here, Ziggy, Emily, and Milo. You might see them or hear them kind of knocking around. How are you enjoying this Drake versus Kendrick Lamar?
Well, let's not talk about that right now, but safe to say, I've lost a lot of sleep in this past weekend.
How many days of sleep have you lost?
3 days. 3 days.
And who do you think is winning? I mean, just say it.
Fine. Yeah, Kendrick, hands down.
Okay. Good to know. Are you a fan of either?
I'm a fan of Kendrick, and I'm a listener of Drake. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a fan of Drake, and not necessarily because I dislike him or anything like that, just because I like his songs, but they're not the type of songs that I would listen to in private. They're not the type of songs that I would listen to when I need to reflect or think or feel.
I hate the way that you sing. I hate the way that you... Go ahead, you.
Unless if I'm feeling nostalgic, then I'll put back some of his 2010s hits.
So you like the old Drake, you don't like the new Drake?
Yep.
Okay.
I need a one dance, 'cause it's in my hand.
Gosh, why does that seem like it was yesterday? Okay, well, anywho, hopefully next episode we might talk a little bit more about those beefs, but we're going to need a little bit more background. A smidge too old to really be into the hip-hop scene anymore. A lot of it is just too much for me.
Jesus Christ, Fran, that's not true.
Yeah, I'm an old lady. I can't do it anymore. Okay, so moving along, as the show is called Hold My Merlot, today we're going to try a new wine. It's called Misfits and Mavens from California. And we're going to read the back of, what's not the back of the bottle, it's what it has online. It says, with its crisp notes of vibrant citrus fruit, white peach, crisp apple, and juicy mango are paired with pleasant acidity and a hint of gravel and minerality on the finish. Woo! Marketing 101. Help these people. That was a lot of crap. Not loving it.
Either way.
Yeah.
Still sounds pretty good.
Right.
I'm not drinking today just because I need to watch myself right now. I'm going on vacation next week, so I need to...
Trying to get sexy for your vacation?
Pretty much. I'm going to do a lot of walking. I'm going to Costa Rica, so...
Good for you, Marty. I'm happy for you. That's
Thank you.
really cool. I'm just going to do a smidge of a taste for the group. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start off with, it's a Misfits Mavens Sauvignon Blanc. It's from, I want to say it's from California. So we're going to start off with the color. The color's pretty. I gotta say it's pretty. I'll give it a straight 3. It's not bad. It ain't too shabby.
So to me, as I'm looking at it right now, it's clear, it's crystal, it has good linings. Though there's a thickness on the top, it's probably a little too oily. Regardless, I'm not going to give too much discredit for it. And also, it looks clear and clean. So that's the stuff that we need to start looking for nowadays. There's cheaper and cheaper brands going out there, and we definitely have to keep our quality up. So yeah.
What do you give it?
Well, I would give the coloring a 3 out of 5.
Me too.
It's pretty decent, just like anything else. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but
Smells
the way
good.
that she's reacting, let's move on to the smell.
The smell. Okay, and back on my stuffy nose situation. Pollen season's here, or who knows what the hell's going on, but not feeling too great.
Oh boy.
But I can say it smells really good. Yeah, I'm gonna give the smell a 4.
A 4.
Even with my bad sense of smell, it definitely has a bouquet. Like, it's rich. It's rich, right?
Yeah. I would actually give the smell a 4 out of 5. Strong tannin, strong alcohol.
Real good, right?
Yeah, like very, very
This is like 20%.
very, very rich in odors, I would say. So
12%.
12%.
12.5%. So it's
damn, my nose picked it up.
So it's almost 13%.
So for me, 4 out of 5.
Okay, and then for the taste, I'm gonna give it a quick taste. Oh, it's good.
So tell me, how does it taste in the palate right now?
It tastes like apple wine.
Apple wine.
Yeah. Like how there's apple cider and hard cider. It's like
Gotcha.
hard apple wine.
Gotcha.
You want to taste it?
No, I'm good. But I do have to
It's
ask:
good.
Is there
It's good.
Is there an aftertaste to that?
A smidge citrus aftertaste. So it's
Okay.
like, it tastes like apples and then it tastes like kind of lemony, limey at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Acidic. It's a little smidge acidic towards the end.
damn. Well, good thing I'm not drinking it because I know where I would be rating it. But because of that, I'm going to give it a dash out of 5.
Wow.
Just because I can't participate. But either way, what would you give it?
I really feel bad because my nose isn't quite open, but a 4 is pretty high. I'm going to give it a strong 3, and I'm going to give it a recommend. I think it's worth trying out. Misfits and Mavens from California. It's a Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc. It's pretty good. Check it out.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome back.
Hey.
Hey.
Welcome back, everyone.
So, welcome back to Hold My Merlot. Today, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic that was kind of a viral sensation question on the gram and all these other TikToks and whatever spaces that I don't go on. The question that went around all the social media spaces last week was, they were asking women, would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear? And it caused quite a frenzy online, and I just didn't understand why. And I just wanted to have a conversation about it because I just find it so funny how every single time I go online, because I don't go on Instagram as much as I used to. I used to live on Instagram like half the day, especially like on a weekend. I could stay on it for like 2 to 3 hours straight very easily. And just kind of like swipe up and swipe up and swipe up video and meme and video and cat meme and this and that. And just kind of get lost in like comments with strangers. But I just no longer care to be on that space anymore. Because I realized, like, what was kind of fun banter at first has now become a space where everyone is in their feelings. You know what I mean? Like, there are all these women, right, who get on and say, hey, I would rather be in a forest with a bear than with a man.
Okay.
Right? And they didn't really explain, so like a lot of men I think kind of got on and were like, why would you rather be stuck in a forest with a bear? Why wouldn't you rather be stuck with a man? And there were a lot of men that were very
Uppity about it.
it's not just uppity, they were just kind of nasty about the question that women are entitled and we don't value men. And one guy in particular was like, well, at least I don't have to, at least the bear won't have to take you out to dinner, or the man of the forest won't have to take you out to dinner or whatever. It was just like taking it to places that didn't even make any sense. No one's having dinner in the forest.
True. Very true.
But I find it funny how like every time I go online, every little kind of space I get on is, oh, look at this person. Let's talk about them. What do y'all think? And it's almost never anything nice. You know what I mean? It'll be like a celebrity doing something that looks embarrassing. And it's like, why would I want to comment on that?
Right.
Like in the past, I might kind of scroll through and kind of chuckle at the comments. But I'm like, no, I don't want to be there anymore. I just don't care for it. I don't care for social media anymore. I feel like all they want us to do as people is fight,
Gotcha.
right? And it's either man versus woman, right? And for us in the black community, they've really got us going down the rabbit hole. Black man versus black woman sphere is like a gigantic, nasty space. it is like one of the most horrible spaces you could go to is where you have a black guy on a podcast talking about whatever issue he has, and you make a point that probably is valid, and they get all in their feelings, and then the host comes after you, and then a whole bunch of them start coming after you, and then they start laughing at your comment, and then they start just going on and on and on about like an honest comment. You know what I mean? And I hate that space. I hate the black man versus black woman space.
Sure.
We have very few spaces where it's like, hey, let's talk about this, or hey, why are things like this? It's more like, well, half of y'all have baby daddies and and y'all ain't got no money, and you want to come here and take all my money.
Right.
And it's like, what are you talking about? Statistically, most of you don't have any money. I'm just being honest, right? So it's like, I'm not saying all black men don't have money, but it's like, where are you coming from with this? Black women raise the majority of the children, right, in single mother households, and they have higher degrees, and they typically earn more money than black men. So when I hear all this, all y'all coming after me for my money, and and I gotta take you out on all these expensive dates, I'm like, who's y'all? You and all of your friends? Right.
So what I want to say to this is that, so let's get back to the question, right?
Yeah, but yeah, let's get back to the question. But I just wanted to make a point.
Sure.
Everything is a versus to me online. Every single thing. It's Republican versus Democrat. It's Banks versus the small man. It's rich versus poor. It's Drake versus Kendrick now. It's black versus white. It's woke people versus sleep people. It's Israel versus Palestine. Everywhere you turn, it's the red pill versus blue pill guy, right? It's just, there's so many spaces, but it's like a lot of angry spaces, right? And I think that's where this whole question got me lost. Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear? Asking a woman, it's like, why would you even ask that question? It's obvious.
Is it?
Well,
let's get into it. So, a quick question to you. Did you do a little background research on like where the question came from, or?
No, actually, I did not.
Okay, so I myself don't really know, but I've heard this question actually like 2 months ago.
Yeah, well, I heard it like a week or two ago.
Okay, I heard this question 2 months ago, and apparently it goes something like this. So, you ask a woman, okay, if you were in a forest, would you feel safe that there to be there with a man or with a bear? And so these questions started coming out like 2 months ago when it came to me. Like, it started popping up in my feed and TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. And so a lot of the women started saying, oh, you know what? I prefer the bear. I prefer the bear. I prefer the man. Actually, you know what? No, never mind. I prefer the bear.
Most women said bear, and the men went up in arms. Most
Right.
women said bear, or the ones that they're showing
Right.
said bear, so that they can get some fight
Sure.
going on these platforms.
But I want to say this. Did you notice in the question that I asked, which one would you feel safe? Because, as I said, I've heard this question 2 months ago, and I came to like that quick reaction, like, wait, why wouldn't you want to be with a man and stuff like that? The man can, if a man was there, he could probably provide and all this, blah blah blah. A bear, even though he's part of the nature of that forest, part of the environment, he's a part of the forest. There could be a danger that he could attack you, or he could probably just leave you alone. But there's a high chance that he could attack you just because he's hungry, right?
No, that's not what I've heard.
Well, that's what my thinking went,
Okay.
right? So before I delve deep into what I think, I want to ask you what your thought on all this is.
I was just annoyed at the question because I just felt like there was no context to the question. I'm like, okay, if you ask someone like me that question, like, I don't go to the woods. Like, can't. People ask me to go hike, and I'm like, fuck no.
But it's a hypothetical.
You will never find me in the woods.
It's a hypothetical.
It's a hypothetical. I get it. But it's like, what's the context behind this? Like, what are you trying to find out? So when I heard the question, I was like, well, I'd never be in the woods, so I'm not even gonna have to make that decision. Let's say you're like, okay, fine, friend, just make a decision. What would you rather, a man or a bear? It's like, okay, well, is it a baby bear? Is it a full grown bear? Right? And if it's a man, is it Danny DeVito or Arnold Schwarzenegger? You have to give context to the situation. Is like, what's going on? Like, what happened? Right? Did the plane crash and it's the two of us that are like landed there? What am I doing in the fucking woods? Okay. I don't go to the woods. So it's like, okay, say it's a hypothetical and you had to pick, but like, give more context to it. Do I know the man? Do I not know the man? Right? Give more context. I feel like they just want people to go straight to their emotions and be like, oh, I'll be afraid of the man. I'd be afraid of the man. And it's like, yes, of course. Naturally, most women, if they don't know the man and the man is stronger and bigger than them, they probably don't want to be in a forest lost with them. Because there is a fear within most women about things like, to me, like, I'm fearful of things like being caught up in the alley. Like, and you know, and I wouldn't be in an alley, but I'm just saying, let's say it's dark at night and you happen to be in an alley. Maybe you're just running through and you're not thinking. Like, those are fears that women have, that a man will come out of nowhere and attack you or rape you or rob you. There's a fear of, I don't know, just anything. Like me, I have a fear of, like, when I'm sleeping at night sometimes, that someone will come through my door and freaking rob me or do something physical to me. Do you know what I mean? It's just a single woman thing. Yep. It's a natural fear, I think, that all women have. Men are one of our predators. Right? And why would women feel that way? It's because statistically, women are more likely to be attacked than are men to be attacked by women. I have never looked at a guy and thought, oh my God, I could take that guy. You know what I mean? Women don't think that way. Like, I just don't think about attacking people. I don't think about attacking men. I don't think about, I mean, I hate to put it this way, I don't think about raping men. It's just insanity to me. Sure. But there are a statistical amount of men that are out there that think this way, that are violent, that do attack women. I want to say it's like, I forgot the percentage. I'll try to look it up. Sure. But, you know, violent crimes are mostly committed by men. Yep. You know, rape is statistically more carried out by men. I mean, it's not to say that men don't get raped or attacked, but women are going to be attacked at a higher rate just because we're just smaller and we're less strong. Yep.
So, okay. That's your 2 cents into it, right? My
2 cents is, look, I would want a lot more context, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna choose the bear only because I'm not gonna choose the man, and that's just to show you, like, you know, maybe it tells you a little bit about me, but me, I am. If it's one man, no way. If it's somebody that I do know, then I think that's different. Okay. You know?
So the question was never designed to be specific in any terms. Right. It was supposed to be as general as possible. Right. When people ask the question, well, is it a baby bear or it's like unknown. Well, do I know man? Do I not? Unknown. The context is all you know is that you're in a forest to whatever measure that it is. Right. Either it's an apocalypse, either because you're there for recreation or whatever. Point is, in general, those terms are unknown at this time. And so the situation is, and I've heard this 2 months ago and it got me thinking because other people and women started giving their own two takes and even some men started explaining it and breaking it down because this week, while I was like unable to sleep properly, I was scrolling through my phone.
A woman broke through your window and just tried to get some. Oof. Look at you. You wish.
No, because
do you know
I would know if I could put up a fight because I was that exhausted.
Shut up, Marty. You're insane.
Oh, my stars. Anyways.
Yeah, look at you. Think if the stars would align. Do you know what that is for a woman? We would fucking die.
I know. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that I was scrolling and I found a meme, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, I found it 2 days ago. And it's basically, the meme goes like, it has a caption on the top saying, incels.
Oh God.
But before I get to the caption, it's an image of a man choking a woman.
Wow, that's real great.
It's really great, but here's the thing. The caption says, incels. Incels be like, don't you know that the bear can attack you and kill you? And so it's ironic, right? It's an ironic meme because, one, it's kind of putting to the purpose of like incels, which is involuntary celibates, or people basically like not having good people skills in order to pick up women or talk to women at the very least, really don't understand the consideration of what women are being asked when they're asked that question.
Right.
And to me, it took me time to really think about it, and others to tell me, actually, think about it this way, because it's funny that you brought all of that up at the very last, because the question is designed as a perceivement of how women look at things and how men look at things.
Right, and how men just don't have a lot of the fears that women have.
Correct. And so it kind of shows the purpose of this question is so raw and so important to really show us, okay, look, you're really not understanding the concept of why women would choose the bear over the men.
Right.
And it's because of what you just said. Is because women tend to look at men as very predatory.
Yes.
As a predator. And women have a lot of value to be lost if they're in the presence of a man alone. A bear, women don't really run into bears, and even if they did, they would probably run away. They would probably
you don't run.
shake.
Gosh, you don't have never watched anything on bears.
No.
Don't run from bears.
Again, without any context, because I'm not adding anything into that.
Okay.
They would run, they would do, or whatever.
You're supposed to stay still if you see a bear.
You're supposed to, but I'm not saying what you're supposed to. I'm saying what the reaction would be. It could be a lot of different things. The point is that because we as society don't interact with our environment as much as we used to, although I kind of feel like that's kind of changing nowadays. The point is, we don't interact with bears. And bears are more afraid of humans than we are them, honestly.
Right.
Like, we've done a lot of devastation and destruction of our own environment. Bears started to recognize, hey, stay away from this thing. They're small, but they're scary as hell. Stay away from them.
We're humans?
Yes. They killed off and put to extinction our closest cousins, our best friends,
Who
everything.
are these cousins and friends?
Basically,
the polar bears?
I'm talking about polar bear. No,
the
not
black
polar.
bears?
I'm talking about basically like mammoths. I'm talking about other animals that no longer exist.
Oh, God.
It's weird.
I'm sure they talk amongst themselves.
They actually don't, but they communicate signs to each other. Or they communicate like, hey, danger. Or, hey, territory not good.
Right.
Through signs,
Or maybe
smells,
they
and
could
scents.
smell us in general.
Or basically they're being taught to, hey, when this creature, this ape-like thing is around, stay away from them. Stay away from them. I saw what they did to the other creature. Stay away from them.
Right.
Like they designed themselves over the years to modify themselves. So at this point in stage, yeah, evolution, yeah, and it doesn't need to be like talked to from one creature to another. It's shown through habits of learning other habits. Yeah.
Interesting.
So basically, the question is designed to really think about how women perceive the things in that type of situation and how the men perceive the things. Because as a man, I first thought, wait, why would the women choose the bear? The bear could be dangerous. They could be killed on the first day and all that stuff. As a man, I would help them. I would start putting up shelter. I would start looking for food and all that stuff. Like the man,
because you're a good guy, Marty.
Right. But then I'm thinking about it as like, but I'm answering I'm giving myself reasons. I'm not really answering the question.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? Like, this is what's going on when men start going on this, and what you read on is because they're going by first reactions. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm glad I really thought about it, because I'm glad that I'm able to step off on my shoes and actually see the perspective of a woman. Men are scary as fuck.
Yes.
Like, I've heard the stories from women. I've seen the reactions. I've known it because I've talked to them. I've dated them. They're like, listen, I'm just not comfortable right now. It could take some time.
Right.
It takes time for women to get comfortable to men to a certain point. Like, when it's getting too intense or something like that, behaviors start to change and men get really upset and they really don't get it.
Right. Okay, so I'll tell you a little story. I love stories. So I was on a subway one time. I was in New York. I took this really long, like hour and 15 train from Queens to the Bronx to get to my first job out of college. And it was the last stop. So I got on at basically the first.
Look at the camera.
So I got on the first stop at one place, basically at the first stop, and I went all the way to the last stop in the Bronx. And one time I was reading a book or writing or something, and I looked up and there was this guy across from me just vigorously jerking off. I'm not lying, just enjoying himself.
What the fuck?
And I didn't even know what to do because I was so shocked. So, like, I think I threw my book up and I just dashed, right? Like, I just ran. I ran, like, for my life. I was the only person in the train car. And I ran down, like, 2 or 3 cars and I kept looking back, realized the guy didn't even chase me, right? So, I think it was, like, 1 or 2 stops before my stop. It was before it was the last stop. And I managed to walk back down and, because I saw when he got off the train, he was smiling at me, looking at me all weird. It was so creepy. And I walked back up when I saw he got off the train. I got my book, I think it was actually a diary I was writing in. And I go to the police at the train station and I'm like, hey, like there's this bizarre guy who just was jerking off like right in front of me as I was writing my journal. And the cops, there was 2 cops, they're like, what do you want us to do? And I was like, are you serious? I know there are cameras on their train. I know you can catch this creep. They didn't want to take a report. They didn't want anything. So I just got off the train, went to work in a fucking daze. And I have never been the same on trains again. And let me tell you, that's not even the craziest thing. The craziest thing is I was dating this guy, or maybe it was an ex-boyfriend. I called one of my guy friends up. It was either we were dating or we were just breaking up or whatever. And I was like, hey, you're not going to believe what happened to me on the train. So I told him the story. And he was like, oh, God, you're so lucky. He was like, if I saw a girl diddling herself on the train, I'd probably try to fuck her. And I just thought to myself, okay, this is a guy with an accounting degree, like from a pretty decent university. And we're really good friends anyway. I don't think we were dating. I think we were broken up, but we're still really good friends. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's what you have to say to my trauma? He was like, yeah. I was like, what if she was homeless? He was like, I don't know if I care. I think I just try to stick it in. I was like, okay, maybe that's the difference between men and women. It's that,
Don't touch me.
A woman seeing something like a man pulling out his privates and doing all his business in front of you, that is a threat. Like, we run from that.
Yeah.
Whereas a man seeing that, or maybe a woman like coming on to them without them wanting it, is not seen as a threat.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the whole bear versus man thing comes from. And I think what it just is, at the end of the day, we are all animals. And I'm not saying all men, but I think there's a percentage of men whose instincts would kind of
There's a good
go
percentage.
back to like the old bushman that might try to do something to a woman in the woods. Because, the other questions to really ask is like, well, how long are you out in these woods? Is it for like an hour, 2 hours, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Is it a day? Is it a night? Is it during the day? Is it during the night? And I think that's what women fear. It's like, what is the bigger picture? Because a bear you can hide from for some time, right? A bear, you can use whatever little things you know about bears to, to keep them away from you, which is basically all I've heard is with bears, as soon as you see one, you stay still. You don't move. You don't run. You don't make certain, what's it called, sudden moves. With a man typically is stronger. A man typically can outrun a woman. And let's be real. If you're in a forest and there's nothing else going on, what else can a man do to a woman that would make them feel very bad? Or, like, what else? There's just there's so many things that could happen, even besides, I think, which is what most women are thinking at the back of their heads, which is rape. It could be violent assault. I mean, I've seen countless hours of what is this thing called? Serial killer
documentaries,
movies and documentaries on real serial killers. By the way, not like made up fictional stuff. There's some sick people out there. There's some sick people out there, and where do they usually go to bury their bodies?
The forest.
The
forest.
They go off highways and
into the swamps, into the forest, into the unreaches.
Right, and so why would a woman want to be stuck in the forest with a man?
Right. It's why I love this question, because it's perfectly designed to demonstrate just exactly what the gap of understanding between men and women, and it's a fundamental thing at best, because, as we described it before, like men are usually some type of threat to women.
Not usually. Like,
I'm not saying usually. I'm saying like it's just it comes off.
I think when they're alone. I think when you have. I think when the circumstances are right and it's the wrong kind of man. Yeah. There could be an attack on a woman.
But that's the thing. It's the unknown of those things, right? That's why the question is designed so generalized, because when you're asking for the specifics, you're like kind of missing the point of the question itself.
Right.
Because the question is designed, and I don't know where it came from, but I know how, because these are the types of questions that I know are designed in a specific way to reveal something about each person. And that's why it's so designed to be as general as possible, because it takes a lot of men aback to see a lot of women answer the question, oh, with a bear. And then themselves would start describing the reasons why they would be better suited than the bear. Not really thinking like, why do they choose the bear? Right. Like they start to think about the reasons why they are good, why they are the better choice, not really realizing, well, wait, what's the other person's reasons behind it? Right. And it's really just statistics. Yeah, and it's statistics, it's stories, it's feelings, it's talks from your mother, from your sister, from your cousins, from everything. And I love this question. I really do, because it caught me off guard at first. It really did, and it kind of like made me realize, Martin, slow down for a sec. Like, you're smarter than this. Right. It feels like a trick question, and I need to figure out why. So I did a little bit of not research, but a little bit of digging on this question, and I've seen it multiple times. And a couple of people started explaining it in the comment section. People started giving responses, and it started making me reflect. Oh, yeah, that's right. Men can be creepy. Yes. Men can be a threat to women.
Very creepy.
Not always, but because of how we design ourselves within the society, and because of the ways that we interact with each other, there's this constant threat from men towards women. And it's just the case. It's not, and I'm not saying this in generalities or anything like that, but it's just how our society has designed us in this way. Yeah. And this is the reason why this question is so perfect, because it gives like a raw view of the mindset of a woman, because of this whole like cause and causation. I love it. I really do.
Right. Excuse me.
Yeah. Bless you. Now, as a man, I would never do anything to a woman like that or anything like that. And what the conditions are, as I said, like the point of the question is to keep it as general as possible. Anytime somebody is asking, well, just like Luigi did, well, am I really the only woman there? Unknown. Is this bear a baby bear? Unknown. Right. Is this man ugly? Is he fat? Is he fast? Is he skinny? Is he good? Is he unknown?
Right.
Is it a thick forest? Is it a dark forest? Is it a light
Yeah.
forest? Unknown.
Right.
Because you want to get to the center of like your raw thoughts into it. And it's no wonder why a lot of women answer the question because of the answer that you gave. And
Right.
it, as I mentioned before, like it took me some time to get to.
Where we're coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you got there, Marty. So with that, I'll give two other answers. I said I would choose the bear. I was gonna ask more women, but I was like, what's the point? I already know that most women are gonna be like, I'd rather be with a bear. So I asked two of my best friends from high school. We're all about 40, mid 40s. So one friend said that she said I'd rather be stuck in the forest with a bear.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this woman is very strong. She
Yep.
could probably take out most men.
Yeah.
All right, and I don't even think I think she could intimidate a man. All right, and she said because she said, well, depending on how long she's stuck in the forest, she's like, well, I could try to kill the bear, and then I would have meat, so that's food. And she was like, if I'm stuck even longer, then, you cut out the hide. I don't know how the heck that would happen, but still, it's still, like, you don't know what she has in her pockets. She's like, you cut the hide, you get a cloth, now you have...
Or you find a sharp rock or whatever it is.
Right, so she was like, I'm thinking just long term, it would be better to be stuck with the bear just because it's for survival, whereas, I think I don't even remember why she said she wouldn't rather be stuck in the woods with a man, but she said she's thinking more of survival. So I asked another girlfriend about the same age as well. She's also pretty strong. These are former both of them played college sports. One played basketball, one played soccer. So they're pretty strong women. And probably about 5'6" to 5'7". So the other one said, well, I'd rather be stuck in the forest with a man because, it would probably be easier to get out of the forest with another man. If we put our heads together, maybe we could figure out direction-wise, like which way to go. So maybe it would be an easier way to get out of the forest with a man than to try to figure it out by myself. And I was like, wow. Okay, interesting. So clearly, out of the three of us, two would rather be stuck in the forest with a man, and one would be rather stuck in the forest with a man.
I'm not too surprised.
Can I ask you, Marty, would you rather be stuck in the forest with a woman or a bear?
No, with a woman. It's far easier to answer the question when it comes to being a man.
Okay, so why would you rather be stuck in the forest with a woman?
I'd rather be stuck in the forest with a woman because I can at least have a partner, a possible partner. Just basically gather food, shelter, build the shelter, gather resources as much as possible. Again, the conditions are unknown. Like, is this in a post-apocalyptic? Is there anywhere to go? Is this just basically a situation in which we're both lost, or both strangers, or we both know each other? I don't know.
Right.
But the point is like, I can tell you straight up, I'd rather be with a woman because a bear, even though I'm not going to say I'm strong enough to take on a bear. It's just as a man, I would be instinctual enough to fight the bear or at least try to take on the bear. But I'd rather not. I would rather cut that out of the equation, just choose the woman. I'm going to be hungry. I need somebody to gather just as much resources. It's better to have 4 hands than just 2.
Interesting.
And if there's like a situation in which it is an apocalyptic, okay, now we got a possible mating partner.
Oh God.
It is what it is. Like I'm giving you a raw instinctual thing, but again, this is also one of the reasons why the way that you reacted,
Right,
is also why the woman would probably say, "Oh, I want a bear. I'd rather be stuck in a bear because I don't want that to be the first thing that might possibly happen."
Right.
And that's a question of like how relationships also work in society. That's another in-depth thing that we can go into.
Right.
But basically, the way that you reacted, it's exactly why I knew, like, the moment that I said it, I knew you would become, like, coil in it.
Right. No, it's okay. I think that at the end of the day, most women would probably pick a bear.
Yeah.
And I would say, okay, also, I'm going to say educated women are going to pick a bear. All right? Because, yeah, I'm telling you, I think it has to do with, are you thinking, are you,
10 more minutes.
yeah, are you thinking more complex, or are you thinking, are you thinking more survival? Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was stuck in the forest with a bear, I don't know. I don't know why the bear makes me feel more comfortable. And then I think in general, just me personally, men scare me. Men scare me because I think I've been around enough men to know that if given the chance, all right, with enough meetings, I think most men at some point are gonna try.
Yep.
All right, and that's just across the board, and I'm talking about all kinds of men, young, old, fat, short, married, unmarried, whatever. I'm just trying to say, I'm not saying all, but like most men, given time, they will eventually try. And personally, it's off-putting. You know what I mean? It gives you a little ego boost here and there, but it's like, oh God, really? Even you? Do you know what I mean? Oh, like, really? Why? And that's why I would think that being in a forest with a man, where there's nobody looking, nobody judging, right? And now you have this woman with you, right? That they would try. And I say give it, I would say give it like a week or so. Like about 7 days maximum in those woods. If y'all couldn't figure out how to get the hell up out of there, I think the woman would become the prey.
Yeah.
I think the woman would become victim if they didn't want to, and that's my fear. My fear at the end of the day,
but at that point,
is that the man would try to sexually assault me or any woman in a forest.
Sure. I don't know.
Just because as the saying goes, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it really fall?
Yes, it did.
Really?
Yes. It doesn't, because the context of that question is in the context of.
I know, Marty. But I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
If no one saw it or heard it, then it.
Did it really happen? The question. The answer is still yes. It's terrible, but to me, I don't think that more than half of the men would ever get into that situation, for one reason or another, because really men are just as like vulnerable as women are to some extent. They don't want their environment to be unstable.
Right.
To bring in the situation of sex, because that's really where we're really getting at, is like there's a situation of attraction and sex, and whether it's going to be forced or whether it's going to be consensual and all that stuff, and how is that going to play within the independent or the submissiveness of women?
Right.
I that's where it also really got me at, because I'm thinking about it in terms of, okay, there's also another reason why most women, especially the smart ones, will want to pick the bear. It's because smart women tend to value their independence far more nowadays. It's because they're not choosing, oh, I want somebody to overlook me and protect me and blah blah blah. No, like even I can definitely say, like, I'd rather be in a forest without either the woman or the bear, because I can masturbate. I can gather resources. I can live my best.
Master what?
I can masturbate.
What?
No, I can masturbate. I can create my own self pleasure. I can
in
gather.
The forest?
Yes.
With a woman?
No.
With a bear?
I said I would rather prefer, like, to some extent, not be with a woman or the bear. And the reason why is because, one, I can masturbate. Like, I can get my own sexual gratification. I can gather my resources and not have to worry about a partner or the person that I have to be protective over. I don't have to worry about a threat. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that for men, like, remember what I said about the description, how men are describing themselves rather than trying to find the answers from the woman themselves? Like, to me, I'm like, wait, I can protect them, I can assist them, I can provide for them and everything. But then as soon as I'm laying on top of those questions, I got to a certain point of, like, the question of independence. Like, oh shoot, like, I'm building a lot of reasons of my utility, but even then I'm taking my own independence away.
Right.
Because now I'm being dependent on this person to protect them, to feel useful. And that's also another thing that a lot of men really don't think about, because they want to feed the male ego, right? Mm-hmm. Just as women want to feel free, they don't want to feel a threat or a responsibility of a possible situation like that. But at the end of the day, I think to some extent we all deal with that. Mm-hmm. And this is why I believe that most smart women want to be with a bear, because they don't want to be in the situation where most women are thinking of, like, possible assault or possible taking away of independence. Like, now that the man is with me,
stuck in the forest with a creep.
Yeah, now that I'm stuck with this man, is this man reliable? Is this man able to build a shelter? Is this man strong enough? Is he going to be caring, or is he going to be like an asshole? Am I going to be like, there's a reason why you were asking the questions. Is this guy known or unknown? Is this guy a creep or not? Is he fat or is he tall? Is he this or is he that? Like, you want to eliminate, but the problem is that the question is designed to be as general as possible, so that you can get to the raw details of your own self-conscious as possible. And this is why it's such a threat,
right?
Because it is unknown what the man is. Is he going to be useful, or is he going to be not useful at the end? Because a lot of men tend to be not very useful.
Right.
You're going to be dragged your butt off, and at the end he's probably going to be a threat to you. And I definitely understand that. I definitely understand. If you're lucky, you can get a kind, considerate, good-looking man who's going to try to do his best to
highly unlikely
hunt, to seek shelter, to find clothing, to find resources, to find a way where you guys can set up camp, to look for a settlement or something, right?
Right.
Like, that's the lucky aspect. But
the funny thing is, I just thought of something. If you're actually in the forest with another person,
5 more minutes.
I'm starting to think about it a lot more, and it's starting to sound like either way you're kind of fucked as a woman.
Okay, stop.